this person would be, this would be A. So this would be 1, 2, 2, this one here. No, the person whose ID is 1, 2, 2, 1, 7, 3, 8, 8 would sit here, and then 2 rows behind them would be this person. Okay, does this make sense?
Yeah.
So can you sit according to that? So this would be A, B, C, and D. So if you sit in these seats, you won't be marked absent. And if you're not sitting in these seats, you will be marked absent. Every other row. So maybe you would be next row back. 1 row back. Yeah. Good. Okay, does everybody get it? So try to remember, because I don't know if we'll show this every time or not, so try to remember your seat. Okay, good. Everybody find their seat? Okay. Okay, does anybody have any questions? Is there anybody here who wasn't able to register? Everybody's okay? You...
I don't know how to log into website.
Okay, what's your name?
Atina, sitting on Atina.
Akina?
Atina.
Okay. So I'll show you after class. Okay. Did you? I mean, the standard way is, you know what your password is? Oh, I sent everybody mail. Maybe. Did you? Okay, I'll show you after class. Anybody else? Okay. Okay. So this is a website, right? For a minute. So this is WebAssign. Okay, and these are the assignments. So there's one that's due on the 9th tomorrow, 19th. Right, and then next week, the 25th, is Wednesday, and that's before class. Okay, so before class on Wednesday, and this is also due on Wednesday. Okay? So I actually want to go through these problems to discuss this material. But first I want to ask if there are any questions. Okay, I don't know if I can run this without Flash. Let's see what happens. So it seems to have worked. Okay, so it looks like there are 16 problems in this homework that's due on, oh, I think I opened, did I open the wrong one? Yeah, wrong one. This one. Oh. Oh, that's the right one. Okay, sorry. Okay, so there's 16 problems due. Okay, and these are the problems. All right, so let's talk about what you have to do here. So they say a piano manufacturer has fixed cost, daily fixed cost of $1,600 and a marginal cost of $1,800 per piano. So what does this mean? So usually when they talk about like a manufacturer, so when you're making something, they break up the costs that the manufacturer has to be faced with into what they call fixed cost and cost per item. Okay, fixed cost is like the cost of the factory. Right? You have to buy the factory, you have to make the factory. It doesn't, if you make one piano or you make 100, you still have to pay the same for the factory itself. Okay, does this make sense? Okay, so that's called the fixed cost. They always say there's some kind of fixed cost, like the cost of making a factory or other things that don't depend on the number of items that you produce. Okay? Does that make sense? So, this is there no matter what. If I don't make any pianos or I make 100, I still have to pay this amount. Okay? On the other hand, this cost, they call the variable cost, depends on how many pianos I make. Okay, if I make one piano, then I have to pay this amount. If I make two pianos, I have to pay double that amount. That's the cost per piano. Okay? If I make 10 pianos, how much do I have to pay for this part? $18,000, right? 10 times this, right? Does everyone get that? Okay, so then I can ask, if I make one piano, what's the total cost? So I have to pay this, we just had one of this, plus this fixed cost is always there. So how much, what do I have to, what's the cost of making, the total cost for producing one piano? It's 18 plus 16, right? Which is what, $3,400, right? Okay, so it costs me $3,400 to make one piano. How much does it cost to make two pianos? So this part is going to be how much? 36 plus, this is always there, so that's what, $5,000, right? Right? Everyone get that? Oh, sorry, $5,200, right? Right? Everyone see that? Okay, so in all these problems, they do it like that. They have a fixed cost and a cost per item. Let's see if there's another example. Okay, here's another example. The cost of renting tuxedos is $22 down. Now, that's not very clear what that means, but I'm sure what they mean is that's the fixed cost. Okay, that's the fixed cost. And then $88 per tuxedo. So that's the variable cost. Okay, so let's do one example of this. If I make one tuxedo, how much does it cost? I have to pay this initially plus one of these. So what's that? $110, right? If I make two tuxedos, or I rent two tuxedos, then how much is it going to cost me? I have to pay this always, and then two of these, right? Everyone get it? All right, let's look at another. Okay, here's another example. Your college newspaper has a fixed production cost of $72. Okay, now they make it, this sort of throws you off because we don't really know what that means per edition. Or maybe you do, but to me it throws me off, makes me confused a little bit. But anyway, just ignore it basically. This is the fixed cost. And then the marginal printing and distribution costs. So they're not calling it variable cost here. They're using the word marginal cost, okay? Marginal printing cost. Okay, we're going to use that word also, marginal, but it just means variable cost. Okay? So anyway, what is it? It's 41 cents per copy. Okay, so it's, how much is the fixed cost? $72, and then the marginal or variable cost is how much? 41 cents. So again, if I make, let's say I make 10 then what is it? It's this cost plus 10 of these, right? Does everyone get it? Yeah, let's see if there's another one. Okay, one more, let's see. Okay, this thing, just reading through it, looking, this is, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here. 54, what is that, cents? 54, here's the seating chart. Okay.
We have a seating arrangement?
54 cents per serving. So what is this the variable cost or the fixed cost? Which is this one? It says 54 cents per serving, so I'm pretty sure that this is the variable cost. Let's keep reading. No. Oh no, sorry, that says charge. That's wrong. Sorry. That's different. Here. We'll talk about that later. But the only expenses are 16 cents per serving, right? Do you see that? So that's the variable cost, sorry. Right? Estimated at 16 cents per serving. Does everyone see that? So that's the variable cost. And this is, what's this? And the cost of renting the facility for the evening. So what's that called?
That's upfront.
It's called the fixed cost, right? Everyone get it? All right. Now this one, by the way, this is the selling cost. Okay, this is how much they sell the pasta for, so they're going to talk about profit also. Okay, but we'll get to that afterwards. Okay, does everyone understand this? Okay, now they use the symbol C of X to be the whole cost. And X stands for the number of items that you manufacture. So the total cost obviously depends on X, right? Obviously depends on the number that you manufacture, right? Okay, obviously, right? So that's what C of X means, right? That's when you say C of X, what does that mean? It means that the cost depends on X, and X stands for the number that you're making. Is this clear to everybody? All right, so let's look at this. So, okay, so here they say, let's go back to the first one. Piano manufacturer has a fixed, everyone see that word fixed? Fixed cost of that much, and a marginal or variable cost of that much. So they want to find the cost function. So what's the answer? What's the function that will give me the formula, or the total cost? It's 1600 plus 1800x, right? Right? Everyone agree with that? So it's going to be, once again, 1600 is the fixed cost plus 1800x. Any doubt about that? Okay. Okay, so let's maybe write it in. Let's see, can I write it in? 1600 plus 1800x. So that should be right. All right? Okay, so let's try and answer this. On a given day, what is the cost of manufacturing 3 pianos? So this given day stuff is because this is daily fixed cost. Okay, so that's kind of just confusing, but anyway, so on a given day, what is the cost of manufacturing 3 pianos? So how do we get that? Just put in 3 into here, right? Okay, everyone understand that? Okay. What is the cost? Okay. Now let me ask you, what's the, how about it, so we just said, C of 3 is what? This number plus 18 times 3, right? Everyone agree with that? Okay. Now, this is a different question. What is the cost of manufacturing the 3rd piano? That is a different question than this question. Okay? It the English is different and the meaning is different, right? Sometimes, you can say the same thing in different words, right? But that's not what's happening here. They're saying different things with different words. That's more typical, right? And this is different. This is not the same thing as manufacturing 3 pianos. This is the cost of the manufacturing the 3rd piano. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, we already wrote the function, so so we can graph that function. So we can graph that function, right? What's the function again? Right, so we can graph that, right? Or just opposite, sorry. So we can graph that function. We can just call this y, and we can graph it. So we can put y there and x here. So what's the so-called, where does this intersect the y-axis? This is the y-axis. Where does it intersect the y-axis? That is, what they call the y-intercept?
1,600.
Yeah, 1,600. Let's put that here. So it starts here, because we're really not talking about negative values, so we can say it starts there. And then what's the slope? 1,800, right? This is the slope, right? We're talking about y equals b plus mx. So the slope is the m is 1,800, right? So, some slope like this. I'll just draw it like that. Okay? Okay, so in other words, if this is 1, then if we want, this is the cost function. Okay, if we want to know the cost, we just go up to here, and we need to know what that is. Right, so obviously that, we already did that. What was this again? 3,400, right? So obviously my scale is not too good here, but I'm just going to leave it like it is. Okay, so that's 3,400. And if this is 2, then what? So then it's 36 plus 16, right? Which is 52. We did that, right? Okay, so that was 52. And let's do 3. What's 3?
7,000.
What is it?
7,000.
7,000. Okay? Now, here's the question that they're asking. They said, what's the cost of manufacturing the 3rd piano? So that means how much did we have to increase, how much extra did we have to pay after the 2nd piano to get to the 3rd piano? Right? So this was 5,200, and this was 7,000, so it cost us how much extra? 1,800, right? Okay, so that's what they mean by how much it costs to manufacture the 3rd piano. It means how much more than manufacturing 2 does it cost to manufacture 3. Okay, so it's this difference here, from here to there. That's what they want to know. Okay? But obviously, we know what slope means, and this is, the slope, m, is just the change in y over the change in x. And the change in y here is just 1. I'm sorry, the change in x is just 1. Right? So we're just asking for the slope. Right? So that is 1,800. Right? Okay? So that's how you do this. Okay? And that's the meaning of marginal. Marginal is how much it costs to produce 1 more. Okay? The marginal cost of that is the meaning of marginal, actually. It's how much it costs to produce 1 more. So the thing is, suppose that the cost function, C of x, was not, this is called a linear equation, right? This is called linear, right? because there's no x squared here, there's no, square root of x there, it's just x. So that's called a linear equation. And so it's, the reason it's called linear is because the graph of it is a straight line. Okay? However, suppose that it wasn't linear. For example, suppose we had something like, 100 plus 2x squared. Okay, that's not linear, right? So what does that look like? That's a parabola that starts at 100, right? And it looks like this, okay? Like that. So if I put 1 in there, what is the cost of producing 1, the total cost of producing 1? 102, right? This is 102, right? Because I put in 1 here, I get 102. If I put in 2, what do I get? I get 104, right? If I put in 3, what do I get? I get, did I do that wrong? It's 108, right? Okay. If I put in 3, what do I get? 118, right? Okay. So, what's the marginal cost of producing 1? I'm sorry, what's the marginal cost of producing this item, the first item? So it's how much did you have to go from here to here? So it was 2, say $2, right?